Hi everybody, it's Tom from FindTheBestCarPrice.com. This is the 2023 Honda hr-V. This is the LX trim level we're going to be taking a look at. It has an exterior color of platinum white with a black interior. Obviously completely redesigned. Give you a good look at the fully redesigned front end. And a lot of people I know were saying we don't want a larger hr-V. So here are the dimensions as far as the changes. The wheelbase, the center of the front tire to the center of the rear tire, has increased by 1.7 inches. The overall length, basically bumper to bumper, has increased by 9.4 inches, but the interior size hasn't really changed that much. On this model, you will find LED headlights and LED tail lights. We'll take a quick look around the vehicle to give you a good up-close look. Obviously, if you didn't know, this model is based on the same platform as is the 11th generation or the 2022 model Honda Civic. What does that mean under the hood? It means gone is the 1.8 liter four-cylinder making 141 horsepower. It's replaced by this 2-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder, 158 horsepower and 138 pounds-feet of torque. And you might say to yourself, oh, that doesn't sound like much of a difference. And even though the numbers themselves are not much different, the way this engine is tuned is different. It's going to make a big difference as you drive down the road. It is mated to a CVT transmission. This is front-wheel drive, but you can opt for the $1,500 option to go to all-wheel drive if you want to. And last but most certainly not least, let's talk MPGs. 26 miles per gallon city, 32 out on the highway, 28 combined, and Honda says you should use 3.6 gallons of gas per every 100 miles you drive. And a quick look at the remote. You might notice one thing is missing, well, at least on the LX trim level. If you go to the Sport trim level, you will find remote start, something you won't find here, but just so you know what's there. And we'll open the rear lift gate, very easy to do. 25 cubic feet on the low end, and then if you want to maximize your cargo capacity, it's going to jump up to 55 cubic feet, and you'll do that by using this lever right here, or kind of release, I don't know if I call it a button, but you can lower both sides of these seats here to maximize cargo space. Now, one thing that we wish Honda had kept, the magic rear seats. So that means you no longer have the option to fold the seat cushion up anymore and use this area for storage. If you want to stand something straight up, well, that doesn't happen anymore. What do you think about that? Do you like it? Do you not? Tell me what your thoughts are. And then you're going to still have your cargo space lighting on both sides. As you can see right there, 12-volt power outlet. And right under the floor right here, you're going to have the tray that you can use to store different things in. You can obviously find the tools to change your tire there. There's the funnel if you ever need to put gas in. And the good news, no tire repair kit here. There is your spare tire. And there really isn't much to talk about back here, at least on this particular trim level. You do have a little bit of storage space right here, but you don't have any connectivity back here, no air conditioning vents, which I don't think is a big deal. But I am surprised that Honda still is only putting in the single map pocket on the rear of the seats. That's a little disappointing. I'd like to see that on both sides, just convenience for storage. And you still don't have a very large door bin right there, but there is enough for a fairly large bottle. And we'll go ahead and close the door, and we will hit the button to start the engine right here and get everything up and running. A nice looking instrument cluster. You're going to have the 7-inch here and also the 7-inch infotainment screen, although you can upgrade to the 9-inch touch screen. That's going to be nice and useful. Obviously everything you would expect to see here. I don't have anything connected, so just to show you what's here, but it is a nice clear screen. The easiest way I can show you that is to put it into reverse. And yeah, you do see the blinking there. That's because of the shutter speed of my GoPro. So don't let that bother you. There's nothing wrong with the vehicle. There's nothing wrong with the screen. You do have the multi-view that you can see right there. There are your steering wheel mounted controls. And then obviously everything here for the blinker option. It is here on the vehicle, so you can push that into the up position or into the down position, depending on which direction you're turning. And it lets people around you know what you're doing. That's pretty novel, isn't it? They actually spec'd that into this particular model, went all the way with it. Yes, it's okay to laugh. There's the controls for your headlights. You also have the controls over here for the windshield wipers. And right here, something that is a change. Notice what's right there? Yep, it's the new cup holder position, conventional cup holders. I bet that makes a lot of people happy because you don't have that kind of interesting to use former system that was in here. There is a USB port, and let me hop back out here for just a second. There's actually 2 more USB ports here. Let's see if we can give you a good view. They're going to be found on each side of the pass-through. One on this side, one on the other. You've got the pass-through right here if you want to use that. And on top of that pass-through, if you don't like the push-button shifter, well, good news. You don't have a push-button shifter here. I don't think the HR-V ever has, so that's good for those of you who like the conventional style shifter right here. But you have a few things here. You've got your drive mode selector. You've got hill descent. If you're doing under 12 miles an hour, you can push that and the vehicle will descend slowly down a hill or at whatever speed you're going at that time, under 10 miles or under 12 miles per hour. If you're doing 8 miles per hour, it will maintain that until you touch the brake or the gas, and then you can either push that to disengage it, or above 37 miles per hour, it will automatically disengage. And then your power parking brake and brake hold mode come to a complete stop. When that's activated, the brakes stay locked until you push the gas pedal again. And your mode selector here, let's take a look at exactly what happens on the dashboard when you change modes. There are 3 different driving modes. You have normal, you have econ, and you also have snow mode. I would recommend going with that $1,500 upgrade if you're going to be driving in a lot of snow. That would give you a better opportunity to use all-wheel drive as opposed to front-wheel drive. Just my thoughts on that. And here is the, well, somewhat new and improved console. Still not a ton of space in there, but this isn't a full-size SUV, so you probably wouldn't expect to see a giant center console, but it is pretty deep. There is a lot of space in there. And just a quick look at the seats themselves. Obviously, these are cloth seats, but not a bad thing. Seating does seem to be very comfortable. But what about ride quality? Let's hop out on the road for our test drive, and we'll see if we can answer that question. Just give you one quick look here at the dashboard as well. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that carry over from the 2022 Honda Civic, as you can see, including this floating touchscreen. So going to be a little bit higher, not inset into the dashboard anymore. That's meant to be more in the line of sight for the driver. That's why it's positioned where it is. Tell me what you think about that. Do you like it? Do you not? And tell me why. All right, now that we're out on the road for our test drive, what are my impressions? We'll find an improved ride quality. There is independent rear suspension that's now going to help out with that. Better ride quality. And honestly, you know, it's not quite like the Civic, but I really wondered, being that this is based on the Civic platform, are we going to have the great handling characteristic that the 11th generation of the Civic brought to the experience of driving the car? Well, it doesn't feel stuck to the road like the Civic does, but then again, this isn't quite the same vehicle with the same purpose. But I can tell you that I definitely notice a difference. It feels more tight, if that makes sense. What I basically mean is it feels far more responsive. It feels better planted to the road. Not quite like the Civic, so I'm not comparing those as apples to apples in that respect, but it is definitely improved. And while I can't really demonstrate it at the moment, we'll get down the road where we can do it here shortly. The tuning map for this particular engine combination, like I said, you're only making 17 more horsepower than you were previously. So 141 up to 158. But when you drop the hammer, it does a pretty good job of getting down the road without a problem. And it actually maintains that high RPM. If you're driving in sport mode, then it's going to kind of mimic that transmission shifting experience, even though you obviously just have a single speed CVT here. But one thing I want to do is get up the road here just a little bit and see what we can do to give you a real world example of what it's like with the road noise. We're heading up to just the right place. We're going to stay in the right hand lane, and the asphalt here is about to end. Let's take a listen. I'm gonna have to change lanes real quick here because of the slower moving truck, but let you listen. That's an improvement as well. The road noise actually has decreased from what I remember previously with the 2022 and earlier models of the hr-V. So I have to say, I'm really impressed with what Honda has done here. It doesn't feel really any larger in my particular opinion. Now, I hadn't driven the 22 model in quite a while, or the older generation, we'll say, the previous generation, but I will say that I can definitely tell a difference in the handling. There seems to be less road noise, and obviously with a little more horsepower and that really kind of upgraded CVT transmission. Let's see if we can get by this truck here without any problems. People like to drive under the speed limit on this road for some unknown reason. We're actually just now getting up to the speed limit, but that's kind of good because now I can give you a better idea on the road noise. Let you listen again. Now keep in mind, I'm in here all by myself, don't have the air conditioner blasting or the radio turned on, so you're going to pick up on more of the road noise anyway. Don't let that deter you. I always say, as much as we try to convey our experience in the automotive journalist world here on YouTube, when it comes to the test drive, it's a little deceptive in a way because we can tell you about it, but that's one thing. Until you experience it for yourself, it's another. I definitely encourage you to get out to your local Honda dealership and drive one of these new hr-Vs. I think you're going to be very impressed, especially if you're stepping out of an older model. What else can I say here? Well, I like the feel of the brake pedal. I'm coming to a slowing down here. Not coming to a stop, but slowing down here to make my turn onto this road we're turning onto. The brake pedal is not overly aggressive. It doesn't feel mushy. It really has a very nice balance to it. Now, obviously, I'm the only person in the vehicle, so it's a little bit hard to say what it would be like if I had more people in the vehicle, maybe a little bit of cargo back there in the cargo area. I'm not going to say towing a trailer because I don't know that anyone's going to tow anything with an hr-V, but maybe you have. You can tell me about that down in the comments section, what your experience has been like. But overall, steering very responsive. I like the way the new infotainment screen looks. You do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so you can plug in your favorite GPS app there, so that's good. Very easy to see because of its new position, being kind of a floating touch screen. That's better than that inset, so there's two advantages there. It's easier to look at it and still keep your eyes on the road because of its position, and also avoid glare because you don't have that angle that tends to really attract that glare from the sun. So some really big improvements there. Overall, you have to give high marks. Honda has done a really solid job here with this fully redesigned hr-V.
To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any vehicle you may be interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.